Live for the things that make it right. Live for the ones that make me free. Open up your heart and you will see. Live to be proud, I've made the day. Somebody else to make a way. You gotta live like it's the last day. It's the last day.
Is A Close Call with Death podcast series. Welcome to A Close Call with Death. Today I have Curtis Marsh with me right here, and hopefully those microphones won't be right in front of our faces, in front of our mouths. It looks like we're doing good. We're gonna be all right.
We're going to make it.
We're gonna make it. So I met Curtis through a networking group, and just through a friend of our mutual friend of ours, Jeff Lamb.
Yeah.
Jeff's connected with the planet, and he has a lot of great reach and to human beings. And I'm just super excited to talk to Curtis today on the show. Curtis is a financial planner, has been in the financial world forever, has been on Wall Street, early riser in the industry. He was Rookie of the Year with Lehman Brothers and stuff.
You have done your homework.
He's definitely CEO of a private equity group.
Capital Growth Management.
Yes. That's just on the financial sides of things, but he's also got Rise Above the Chaos, which we'll get into, and you can talk about that.
Sure.
Because there's links to that I want the listeners to be aware of, to familiarize themselves with Rise Above the Chaos, because it's an amazing concept, and it's just a great way for people to not be taken down with all the adversity and things that happen in life that can be a real setback and make you feel like you don't have any hope. Right. You can't advance. You can't be better than who you are. And the whole premise of this show of A Close Call with Death is when you've had a close call where you think your life could have ended in the event, whether it's an illness, an accident, or whatever. What do you do with the gift of life that you have left? When you have the opportunity to live more life ahead of you, what are you going to do with that? What do you want to? Did you want to change things that you wanted to change all along but didn't have the energy to do it? Do you finish things that you never started or whatever, or reach out and help people as a result of the history of the experience of what you have? And so I want to talk to you about some of these things today, Curtis.
Sure.
So, but first of all,
it's good to be here, man.
Tell me more about you and who's sitting in front of me today.
Well, I grew up in good old Bountiful, Utah. And,
Bountiful, Utah is north of Salt Lake City, a little bit.
Yeah, north of Salt Lake. My parents went to West High School together, got married. We lived in Rose Park for about 5 years, and then moved to Bountiful. I was the oldest of 5. The youngest brother passed away, but kind of as I said in my TED talk, it was kind of a Rockwell type family. You know what I mean? We had. Thank you. Is that better?
Yes, as long as that's right towards you, that's what we need.
There we go.
That's better.
So I grew up in a fantastic family. I mean, we had time together that we spent. We were church going. We did a lot of family activities. We lived in a cul-de-sac. We did a lot with the neighbors. And
did you have a lot of siblings?
I was the oldest, and then there was 2 brothers, and my youngest is a sister. So as I look back, I mean, it was a beautiful, perfect, Norman Rockwell type life.
Mm-hmm.
We had just so many cool things going on. But with being the oldest, and maybe my dad expecting me to be a powerful leader and example to my younger siblings, growing up in the LDS church, which I don't fault. I'm still an active member in the church, but that carried some weight too. It's kind of so you had the
weight of responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought that I had to be perfect. You take those things, being the oldest, growing up in the church, the expectations of, it was mostly my father, just because he was proud of his firstborn. And I thought I had to be perfect. And that's a tremendous weight. At the time, I didn't see it, but I remember when I started to maybe get out of alignment with that a little bit, Bob. I was...
What? You mean you weren't perfect, Curtis?
Wasn't perfect.
It's ridiculous.
And that's a double...
Unacceptable.
That's a double-edged sword because, you know, you're like, okay, I have to be perfect. And if I do one thing wrong, I'm going to hell. I mean, that was my mindset. No one told me that, but that was how I felt as a young man. And so I grew up in Bountiful, played sports.
You look like you played sports. You look like a big football player.
I was a lot smaller in high school, so I played left out in football, but basketball and
That's
baseball.
funny.
Okay.
I played left out.
Left out. Yeah, what position? Went on. I served an LDS mission.
Where'd you go?
I went back to Connecticut, so it took in all of Connecticut, Vermont, parts of Massachusetts, and New York. Had a very good time back there. Came back, started working for Shears and Lehman Brothers, and it was there that
You know what? And you say that lightly, but that's a big deal in the financial world. Lehman Brothers is one of the biggest, most powerful financial institutions in this country, and you went to work there and you excelled. You did very well there, right?
Yeah, thank you.
I did my homework.
That you have. I'm proud. I started working for my dad after I'll take you back a little bit because thank you first of all for that compliment. But
You bet.
it means even more as I look back, and that gave me chills as you were saying that because I came back. I was 20 years old. I started working with my dad. You were in the insurance business. I don't know where you took your pre-license training, but that's what I did. I helped my dad run these schools to help people pass their insurance and Series 6 and 63 exams.
Okay.
And I kind of built it out as he was building another business. And I got to a point where I said, hey, Dad, we've got 5 schools now from Vegas to Logan. They're thriving, and I'm still making the same amount of money as when I took these over, and we had 8 students in one school. And he thought about it for a little bit. And again, this isn't dogging on my dad, but it's just it's the dynamics of what happened. It's our journeys, okay?
Yeah.
And we went back and forth. I said, Dad, I gotta make some more money. And he said, and we bantered back and forth. And he said, well, I can't pay you more money. And so I looked at him. I said, well,
This is a nonprofit organization.
I just, yeah. I to this day, I don't know why he said that.
Maybe he wanted you to branch out and do something bigger than he thought you were doing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And you know, as you look back going, thank you for that blessing.
Yeah.
It was really a blessing. And this is where people say, oh, that's chaos that just came into my life. My own dad's not even paying me. I got to quit. I got to, just throw in the towel. But that was a great blessing because I had the manager come through for Shearson. He was getting his licenses. And I said, okay, Dad, I can't stick around. And he said, and again, I love my dad. He's 88. We're good.
He's still alive.
We're great friends. But he said to me, good luck. You won't amount to anything without me.
What? That's not very good encouragement.
And that's the chaos that sometimes comes into our life.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos comes into our life, whether we ask for it or not. It comes into our life by choices. But man, you just pointed out to me, I haven't really looked at it like that, but what a blessing that was. I get rejected to make more money with my dad. And he says, good luck, you won't amount to anything without me. I went over to Shearson.
All that did is just like give you a shot of confidence that, hey, I'm going to prove you wrong.
I had confidence through the roof. I was going to prove him wrong.
Yeah.
And again, I want to make sure that the listeners know that I am not throwing my dad under the bus. Maybe he had a more insightful and intellectual reason for why he was doing this. Good luck, son. And he was kind of, trying to get me to branch out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So out of 277 applicants, they took 5 of us. I was blessed to be one. I was the youngest financial consultant ever hired by Shearson Lee, 900-pound gorilla, biggest firm on Wall Street. And I really excelled. And so I took that experience and I didn't let it crush me, because there's not one thing in life that is designed to crush us. If you believe that we are children of a higher being, and mine happens to be God and Jesus Christ, if you believe that, there is nothing designed to crush us in life. It's always designed to create us. And so I went there and I said, I got to show my dad that I am going to amount to something. So it really became, a
catalyst.
Yeah. And I had a very successful career there. I spent about 4.5 years at Shearson, 4.5 years at Merrill Lynch, and then I ran the private client group for Zions Investments, which was part of Zions Bank down in Arizona. And then I went to work for some major Wall Street firms. I had a very, very successful career. And I look back and I think I excelled because I tried even harder to not let my dad be right.
For sure. I just, as a little intermediary, a little thought here that I have is, did that money and situation go to your head at all? Did it make you really larger than life to the point where I can do this, I've done this, I'm excelling, and make you a little bit less humble, and lead to your demise? And did this was the first of something that eventually broke you?
Oh yeah. So my first year, I'm 23 years old. I go out and I buy a brand new red BMW. I made $80,000 as a 23-year-old in 1986.
That's a lot of money. A lot of money in those days.
Yeah. The Dow was at 2,400. I remember all these things. And Bob, I was aligned. It's like looking at that light up there on the ceiling. I was aligned with certain values. I was brought up a certain way. I believed a certain way. Curtis Marsh had a certain identity. I had this alignment that blessed my life. The money, and they say money's the root of all evil. I'm like, it's not. But it can be if it takes you out of alignment, right?
Right.
So here I am, 23 years old, driving a brand new red BMW, and like little breadcrumbs into the forest for Hansel and Gretel, Curtis Marsh started to follow that same pattern. That money went to my head. Didn't go to my heart, it went to my head. And I use this example that I looked up at my alignment, I looked up at God, and I said, hey, thank you for helping me get this position. Thank you. But
I got this.
I've got this. This is all about me. And I kissed those, 3-inch biceps. And I thought they were about 25 inch at the time, but I kissed my biceps and said, I've got this. I'll call you if I need you again.
And in reality, you were there because of everything he's giving you, but got the source.
But I was blinded by the adversary saying, hey, here's this money. You earned it. You showed your dad.
You don't need anybody.
You don't need anybody. You don't need your dad. You don't need God. You're good, Curtis Marsh. Man, I've told this story so many times, but it's still so...
It's raw, isn't it? It's bringing back emotions in you.
And it's a good thing because I am so blessed from those experiences. But I remember, Bob, I started to get out of alignment. You asked me if that money changed things, and it did. And I remember the little teeny breadcrumbs along the way that were taking me And my dad used to always say, a boat doesn't just sink, it's a slow leak. And it's the same way in our lives that we have certain alignment, we have certain identity, we have values, we have a why. And I had all this and I was perfectly aligned, and slowly I started to get out of alignment. The adversary was throwing little breadcrumbs and I was following them. Well, you've done this. You might as well do this, because here's that perfectionism in me. Okay. Yeah. And this is going to sound funny, maybe to some of your viewers, but in the LDS Church, we believe that we have a word of wisdom, and no drinking, coffee, things of that nature.
Smoking, drugs.
Yeah. And I remember having the big guys in the office said, Curtis, come on, you're the rookie of the year. We love you. And they took me to this restaurant, Lamb's Restaurant, downtown Salt Lake City. And I remember trying to fit in, and I had a cup of coffee with them. That's nothing, okay? But when you're in a certain alignment and when you're feeling like you have to be perfect because of your expectations of your parents, the church, or whatever it is, you beat yourself up when I'm not perfect anymore. And people are probably laughing right now going, dude, it was a cup of coffee. And exactly. But do you see how that little...
Yeah, it's just a step. It's just one step in the direction of something that you believe is not your norm, what you accept, what's acceptable to you. And once you take that step, it's just like recreational marijuana. Some people might smoke a joint or something and think it's nothing, but it may lead to other drug addiction that could lead you to narcotics and whatever.
Yeah, the mind, the adversary, everything has a role. And I remember that, and I started to beat myself up.
So the guilt sets in.
The guilt, the shame, the blame, nothing lives in that space. And so why not go out at 2:00 when they went out for beers? The stock market would close in New York. We were 2 hours behind. We would go out, or closed at 4. We would go out and have beers. Then I started to have beers to cover up the shame, the blame, and the guilt from that cup of coffee. And Bob, this was a pattern that started to slowly just feed itself into the forest of a whole different alignment. Mm-hmm. I never lost my spirituality, but I was so full of shame and guilt, and I hid all of that. And what does that produce? It produces more guilt. Mm-hmm. The world saw total success from me. If you looked at me and the things that I had achieved and so forth, it was total worldly success. But inside, I was a broken man. It wasn't just that cup of coffee. It wasn't just that drink, but it slowly changed who I was. I was hiding it. I was married at the time to my kid's mom, and I traveled 4 or 5 days a week, and it eventually became something that was just daily while I was on the road. Never did it when I came back. But this was when there's a line. I used to always tell my girls, there's a line in life, and if you live above it, life blesses you. If you live below it, nothing grows there. And they're like, well, what's below the line, Dad? If you live in the blame, shame, guilt, and entitlement space, okay, which I was living in, nothing happens. Your life continues to just stay out of the alignment that you really should be in. Above that line is personal responsibility, accountability, ownership for the choices that you make in your life and the correction of those choices. I had the power within inside of me. I had everything inside of me to get back in alignment, but
you're the one that had to pull the trigger.
Right. And I thought, oh man, I can't face anybody like that. You know, that blame, shame, that guilt, it just keeps feeding itself. But I had the power inside of me. I had the power with my alignment with my Father in heaven to get back in alignment.
You just needed to figure out when that time would be. and make it happen. Otherwise, you're just floundering. You know, I heard something yesterday we went down to St. George, Utah, 4 hours from here. On the way back, heard a podcast that had Donnie Osmond on it.
Oh yeah.
Donnie was talking about a quote by one of the apostles of the church that said that when you step into the dark and you take the light with you, that the light will follow you and you will light that area around you. You're not just going to stay in the dark. But you know what? If you're like what you were doing, you didn't have the light with you. You were losing the light. You were stepping into the dark, and the dark was taking you over.
Right.
You became the darkness. And that's just leading up to the story we're going to get to of where your life took a nosedive. Right.
Right.
And once that darkness sets in, you do not follow your principles, your morals, the things that you believe in that will create light around you and influence others. You become part of the darkness. Talk about that.
Yeah. So
what happened?
My inner peace was going. All that inner peace that I had and that perfect alignment was slowly gone. But again, looking at the things that I had acquired, the boats, the houses, the cars, the Harleys, everything, everybody would say, man, this guy's really, really successful. But I was broken inside. And people would ask me about that. They'd say, why is it that you're not as happy as you should be? I mean, look what you've got. And I wanted to say, it's not what you've got, it's what you don't have. And I would play a little game with them. I said, in my garage, there's a Harley Davidson safe. I want you to come over on Saturday, and we're going to go to that safe, and we're going to open it up. And in there is titles of the boats and everything that you see here, and there's storage sheds that we can go down, storage units. And you can grab a title, and I will give you that car, that boat, that Harley, whatever it is that you want. And they're like, well, what do you want in exchange? And I said, just come over Saturday, and I'll explain it to you a little bit further. They would come over. I'd take them through this exercise. It's pretty powerful. They would grab a title and say, I want the convertible Corvette. So, okay, here's the title. And before they took it, I'd pull it back. They said, what do you want? And I said, it's not money. It's inner peace. I will trade you this for inner peace. And they would look at me and say, well, I can't give you inner peace. You're right. There's only one author of inner peace. And I had to find that. I had to, you go back to, I could have corrected that. And I tell people now when I speak, look, when you make a decision that takes, and I don't call them bad decisions, because if we label our choices or our decisions as, oh, that was a bad decision, it wasn't. It was a decision. It may have taken you out of alignment, but was it really a bad decision? No, it probably blesses your life eventually. There's a saying called amor fati. It means embrace your fate. Embrace every choice and decision that you make, but correct it if it's taking you out of alignment. Right. See, my problem was I got out of alignment and I thought, I can correct this, but I was too embarrassed. I didn't want to go tell my dad, hey, Dad, I've been drinking beer at 2:00 with these guys.
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel, and so I carried that. It's like a backpack. And I just kept putting
more rocks in it.
Hot rocks, horse turds, whatever. Oh, just pile them in there, you know?
Yeah.
And I carried that around, Bob, for years. For years.
How'd that feel?
It
Curtis?
got heavy. And again, the world looked at me and said, you are so successful. I retired at 43. And I exposed that backpack to my wife. Showed her the choices that were in there. She didn't divorce me because of those choices. And that's the power of forgiveness and repentance and the atonement. We went through a divorce 2 years later, 2008, January 2008, because of the man I became when I slipped out of alignment. You don't have the light with you. you don't have the Spirit with you. And
that's something that she was always happy with, that she had with you. And when she knew that it was gone and was probably not coming back in her vision, then what did she have as far as investment into that marriage anymore, right?
yeah, I mean, I had totally, I mean, my marriage, I was in alignment, but I totally made those choices. It just, I mean, it just took me to
Ruined
a
everything.
place. And the thing that I stress when I talk to anybody these days is correct those choices before they take you into that forest that you can't get out of. And you have two choices when you get into that forest. Okay. And one of them is death. And I got so far down that track of alcoholism and drugs and just stupid, well, let me take that word off it, just choices that took me out of alignment. And this is where, we talked earlier, my death was kind of a spiritual death, not physical, but I remember the turning point, Bob, and I said, and I knelt down on the corner of this leather couch. I know it's still stained from my tears, but I said, Heavenly Father, God, take this guilt, take this pattern, take this backpack full of choices that have taken me so far out of alignment. And in order for me to get back, I need you to take this backpack or take me. I was actually pleading, you have Close Call with Death podcast, and we talked my close call. I wanted to die. I was begging for a heart attack during the night or take my life because I was so worried to tell other people what was in that backpack.
So heavy. It's awful to feel like.
And there's so many people that carry that. And so my passion now and my life goal is to make sure that I share my story so that others who may be carrying the same backpack know that they can empty it. And there's really only one way you can empty that, and that is through, in my belief, the atonement of Jesus Christ.
He's the way.
The alignment with God.
So, Curtis, I want to ask you, and go back to that moment of you kneeling in prayer, talking to God about the situation you were in. What happened in that moment? What happened in the very close proximity of that reach of plea of God's help? What happened? Because I want to address that, because there's listeners out there that are going through this challenge. People that are facing situations like Curtis did, they're facing it right now. What happened to you? Was it instantaneous? Was it something that takes a little bit of time? For some people, will it take months, years to get through this? But where's the hope? What do they have to look forward to based on what you went through?
That's a great question. Thank you. As I knelt there and just, I seriously pleaded with God to take my life or to take this from me. I couldn't take the pain anymore. I couldn't take the fact that I was hiding this, and it was just so heavy. We all have a cross to bear, and this one was just about to bury me. And I remember, I don't share this story that much, but thanks for giving me the platform to do it. But I remember, man, you're really pulling some emotions out of me. I appreciate that.
I can see in your eyes and in your expression just how much this is right on the surface. You can relive this, huh?
Yeah, and it's not that this emotion is gratitude because of where I could have ended up, and gratitude for my Father in heaven, the atonement of Jesus Christ in my life to remove that backpack. And I remember a voice as loud as you and I can hear ourselves and each other. And I believe it was God, and he said to me, "Do you believe that you're my son?" And I'm like, "Yes, but take me, because I can't live with this accumulation of choices anymore. Do you believe that I gave you your personality? Do you believe that I gave you these experiences to bless others' lives? Do you believe that you can use this backpack and turn those hot rocks and those horse turds, shit, let's just call it what it is, all right?
Yeah.
Into blessing other people's lives. I don't know. I feel so far gone. Just please take me, because the pain is, you are my son. I have blessed you with these choices and now these opportunities that you can turn these, what's in your backpack, into gold. And everything that has happened for you, not to you. You can correct that, and you're going to bless other people's lives with what you've gone through. And Bob, that has been the greatest blessing. When I have someone say, man, I just heard your TEDx talk called Rise Above the Chaos, it totally changed my life. Or I speak to a group, and I don't say that kissing my biceps anymore. I say that with full gratitude, because if I can help just one person. I remember walking off the stage of my TEDx talk, and it was about 7 years ago. And in that talk was the first time that I publicly shared with every viewer. It's on YouTube, it's TEDx, it can be viewed by anybody. I walked off that stage, Bob, and I heard this voice, if that wasn't for anybody, it was for you. Because the only way we can get back into full alignment is those moments of despair and full surrender. Full surrender is not weakness. Full surrender is the greatest strength you can give yourself. And when I knelt that day and I stained that couch with my tears and I said, take me or take this, I fully surrendered. And it doesn't happen instantly. You ask the question, do you automatically get back? No, you don't. It took you a long time to get out of alignment. It's going to take you time to get back, and embrace that part of the journey. Okay. Embrace that part of the journey, because we all want instant gratification. We all want things to happen immediately. You and I can push a button on our phone and have food at the door in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Embrace that process of coming back into alignment. You'll be stronger for it. And it's like, there's a word for it, but Japanese word, like when a vase breaks, like a vase you have here.
Yeah.
And they put it back together with gold.
Yep.
It has a name. I can't think of it right now, but that's the process.
ChatGPT right now.
That's the process that you have to embrace. Hey, here's the backpack. Okay, put me back in alignment. I want no. Part of the process is coming back. And that's where you bless lives. That's where you reach out. Okay. Like you did when I met you that night. That night touched a lot of people's lives because you shared your experiences with guests and your experiences. And that's what we're here for. We're here to walk each other home. And in that conversation I had during that prayerful moment with my Father in heaven, I promised that I would bless lives and reach back, share my story. I can share what's in that backpack now. And
you're not ashamed.
No, because I stepped above the line.
I just listen to you and see the agony that you had and the amazing ability to overcome the setbacks that you had. And you have such an interesting, awesome, bright future ahead of you. And you've done such good as of late. And you're impacting the world for positive and bringing the light back into people's lives. And it just makes me think, when in the world did any of us ever think that this world is just perfect around us? We came into a perfect world. We're going to be perfect beings. We're going to live a perfect life, and we're going to go back to a heaven that is perfect. Like, God made this world that is full of error. That it's a beautiful world, but it creates an opportunity for us to grow. And we all didn't just come down and get on a bicycle and learn and just immediately ride.
Right.
We all got on bikes that we fell off of. We skinned our knees. We cried to mom. We did all these things, and we learned and grew, and we wound up learning how to ride that bike and the Harley Davidson and have the wind in your face and bugs in your teeth. This is what life is all about, and that's what we need to embrace. that's why there's really good people like you around that will help others that are going through a hard time realize, good gosh, don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. You're just getting going. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can learn and do that will make this life worth so much. And I refer to it as Earth Camp to my wife.
Yeah.
Where you came to Earth Camp, when we go back, we're going to be all dusty and dirty and scraped up and go, that was so fun. Oh my gosh, that was cool.
Thank you. Yeah,
we're not
thank
going to
you for
just
that.
go and
Right.
just be in a suit and tie and going, that was really fun. Oh my gosh, come on. We
No,
all need
yeah.
to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But see, we're not, at least I wasn't brought up that way. And again, that's no fault of my parents, no fault of the church.
That is so
I'm
true.
not here to blame anyone. It's just, as a young man, that was how I perceived. And hey, it's all for our good.
It's okay to set good, clean, moral codes and direction and have this perfect straight rod. But it's also okay when you fall.
Right.
You can get back on the course.
It's
right?
part of the whole journey.
Yeah.
But see, we're not taught that part.
But you're teaching it now.
That's
your goal in life.
Yeah, thanks. That's my goal. My goal is now, hey, it's about progress.
Yeah.
The perfection is in the progress. There's no such land as or point of perfection. And if you think about chaos, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say chaos?
Oh, just all the things that fly at you in life where it is intentionally to set you back.
Destruction, demise, failure, all these negative things, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Chinese and the Native Americans have a different perspective of chaos. From chaos comes new beginnings. And you have to have chaos in your life to give birth to a dancing new star. The world was created by chaos.
Yeah,
so
it was.
And I started to study that word because you'll probably see it here on my Harley ring. My nickname became Chaos because of how I was living my life. And in that prayerful moment where I wanted my life to be taken, and I think back on that, man, I was actually praying to die. That was my near-death experience, my spiritual death,
And it would lead to your physical death.
The words came to me, nothing is designed. If you believe that you are a child of a higher power, God, do you think that he would give us anything that is designed to crush us and destroy us to the point where we take our own life or we quit and give up? Do you really believe that?
No, because I'm aware of in the scriptures, it says that God will never give you more than you're able to deal with.
Correct.
So
correct.
He knows our limitations. And I think he would step in, if it was absolutely to our demise and would crush us.
Oh, yeah.
I think he steps in.
And that's why he said, do you believe I gave you your personality? And yes, nothing's designed to crush you. And if the message that I hope I give to people and to your listeners and so forth, nothing is designed in life to crush you. Whether it was a choice that you made or what, chaos comes into our life one of two ways. It can come through like those doors. All of a sudden, chaos just happens. And we decide how long it's going to stay, what it's there to teach us, how grateful we're going to be that that's there because it's there to teach us, not to crush us. It's there to create us. And if we can change our perspective of when chaos comes into our life, it's there to create a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
My chaos was the backpack, the choices. It was full of chaos.
Curtis, I've had a lot of people through the show come and talk to me and talk about the things that they had setbacks with, including amputations, paralysis, horrible diseases. And one clear common thread that I've learned from them is that you can't just live in the past. You can learn from history. You can learn from the things that have happened, learn from them, but always look to the future of what it is you can do, not what you can't do, what you used to do.
Right.
Don't get stuck in the past think about those things clearly that are ahead of you that you can do. Redefine yourself, rebuild yourself to be able to embrace the things you can do, because the future is now. Like just 5 minutes ago, that's in the past.
Right.
That is just in the past. But right now is the future. The ahead of us is the future. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? And that's so powerful, because we can't do anything about some of the things that have happened to us, the stuff that's in that backpack and stuff. But gosh almighty, if you can turn it into something else, you know what? At the same time you were carrying all that baggage, you became strong. You know, I saw this guy climbing a mountain that was going to do 26 mountain points. He was a Norwegian guy.
Yeah.
And he would put over 50 pounds of water in his backpack and hike to the top of the mountain just to prepare him to be able to be strong enough to descend these mountains and have the greatest ski trip ever. It's out on YouTube. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, you know, that pack on your back made you stronger as a result of carrying all that. You weren't a weakling. It didn't crush you. It actually made you stronger. Isn't that crazy? And you would think that's really a burden and it's a bad thing to have, but it made you stronger.
And it takes a mindset shift to do that. And, you know, again, I carried it way longer than I should have. And that was my own fault, because I had everything, again, inside me to change it. I had everything available to me. I didn't take that opportunity. And I just encourage people, when that backpack starts getting filled and it starts getting heavy and it's not gold in there, you can correct it and make those adjustments. And like you said, there's nothing you can do about the past. Okay. But there is 100% that you can do about your reaction to the past or to a choice.
Well, does it define you?
Right. No. I mean, you can let it, right? But you have the power
to decide.
We have so much power.
We have free agency.
Yeah. It's already inside us. There's nothing externally that is going to help us any more than what's already inside us and our alignment with a higher power.
That's right.
I mean, there's nothing. We all look for, if I can just do this, but no, just be that person, do those things, and you will have that realignment.
I want to ask you something as far as who's your support crew? And, you know, as you started to find this new Curtis Marsh, the new redefined being that God created, that you know you're his son, who helped you in those moments, and who would you give credit to?
Both of my parents are still alive, and I give credit to them, because the first part of this interview, you might have thought, oh, he's kind of bashing on his dad, especially, or his parents. But some people, I want them to know they are part of that support crew. I have a why, and part of that why is my two beautiful daughters, Cheyenne and Sierra. They are why I didn't end my life that day.
I'm going to float a picture of them and you in this interview. When we post this, you'll see a picture of them with you. They are very beautiful women, and you've done a good job, Dad.
They got their looks from their mother, but I hope that I've made an impact on them to say, hey, it's okay if you trip and fall. It's okay. It's the getting back up that we're measured for. It's not, you know, you're not going to hell if you trip. You're not going to hell if you make a certain choice. Just get back up. And we have it inside of us. We're sons and daughters of God. When you think about it that way, it's like, okay, what is this here to teach me? How can I get back in alignment? And what do I do with that lesson now? And the answer is you pay it forward. It's called the circle of life. If I took this backpack and I asked for it to be removed and I put it in the corner and I didn't share my story with anybody, I'm an ungrateful being. And I've done my Father in heaven a disservice, because he saved my life that day. He saved my life many times. I have an obligation in my heart, my soul, to my brothers and sisters and people that I meet, to make them better from my experience, to walk them home, to make them feel better about themselves, to make them start to live above the line, take personal responsibility, take accountability for those choices. It will bless your life once you start living above that line.
I appreciate that, Curtis. For those that are just getting to know Curtis for the first time now, has posted out on YouTube this Rise Above the Chaos. You can find it out on YouTube if you just bring it up. Any other direction for the listeners to find those things that you have posted out there that would help them?
I do a lot of podcasts now. I do a lot of speaking. The YouTube, if you punch in Curtis G. Marsh, G is for Gary. That's my dad. I'm obviously very proud. Some people said, why don't you drop the G? I said, no, I'll never drop the G. That's my dad's middle name. That's my dad's name, and I carry it.
That's right.
So it's Curtis G. Marsh on YouTube. You can follow me on all the socials. I love to share my story, and I do it not from a bicep kissing arrogance. I hopefully do it from the heart, from vulnerability, from a real raw and relevant stand. I want people to know that there is a beautiful life on the other side of getting out of alignment with your why. And if you don't have a why, I suggest that you sit down and create a why. Why do you get up? Why do you do what you do? Why do you live the way you do? Why do you have the identity that you do? Why are you choosing to be a certain way? Because that affects what you do, and that affects what you have in life. So establish a why, establish that direction, and realize that if you slip out, if you take that breadcrumb and start going towards the misalignment forest, you have all the power within you and within your connection with your higher power. He never leaves you.
Correct your course.
He never left me. No matter how much I put in that backpack, he never left me. He was there when I finally reached out and said, save me or take me. And so it's been a beautiful journey. And again, I mentioned the word or the phrase amor fati, which is embrace your fate. The good, the bad, and the ugly, they are all there for your eternal and temporal good. So
it's so awesome.
Embrace it, man.
I've talked to a few people that have had thoughts of suicide and have contemplated that. Never went through with it. Some were very close to almost, ending their lives in this realm, and they were very grateful that it didn't play out the way that they thought it would. But sometimes, what one common thread to the people that have thought about and contemplated suicide is that it's just a way to end the pain.
Right.
It's not to hurt anyone else. It's not to throw anyone in a friend or family's face. It's not to inflict pain on those survivors. It's just to end the pain that they're going through. And honestly, it makes them go to the point of just ending this life because they just don't want to experience it anymore.
That backpack's so heavy.
It's so heavy, and it just drug them down to the pit. And so again, to them, what do you say to them that are just on the brink, that are facing just one day at a time? What do you say?
Continue to believe and continue to strengthen your why. If you don't have a why, you really don't have a purpose, do you? I mean, what's your why? I know you have one.
I have so many whys.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell that by your energy, by your spirit. Those who are at that point know that they have everything inside them to change and to seek.
You do.
To seek that realignment, little steps at a time. Reach out to people. I mean, I was that guy. I've thought about it. I had this dog that would stare at me, and I think, what am I going to do with you, Bear? My children. My why was so strong. If you create a really strong why in your life, those thoughts,
it'll anchor you to this life. Yeah.
And you may have those thoughts, but they will not stay. And the greatest power and the author of inner peace is Jesus Christ and the atonement. And if I'm not here to preach religion, but if we are sons and children of God, daughters, sons, children of God, that is a beautiful thing to know. And it's there for us to, come back when we trip and have those moments.
Sure. Well, in closing, I appreciate you being on the show and sharing your thoughts and feelings,
You're a great guy.
with me and with the listeners. Any final words of counsel, of advice from the experience you've gained, the seasoning you've found? What would you say in conclusion to the listeners as we wrap things up?
There's so many things that I've learned, and I'm still learning. And don't ever stop learning. Don't ever stop progressing. We can be incrementally better each and every day. But one of the ones for me, and we were talking about it before we went on the air, is you'll see me posing on top of mountains and edges of Moab, with my hands raised, and what that means to me is that the giver is the greatest receiver. Let me explain that. I'm giving thanks to my Father in heaven. I am thanking him for the many things that are in my backpack, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm using my arms as a funnel to receive. I give thanks. I'm receiving that connection. I'm receiving those blessings. And that is the greatest strength for me, because the giver is also the greatest receiver. So give of yourself to others. You want to get out of a funk? Go serve. Go bless someone else's life. Go find someone who's having a worse time than you, and you may not even know it, but leave that person a better person than you found them. And I will tell you, and I will promise you, it's not, it might work. It's a guarantee. Go serve others.
Absolutely.
Go serve others. I am where I'm at today because I got involved in charity work. And when we're in the service of a fellow man, we're also in the service of who?
God.
Okay. That brings us back into alignment. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like the weight of that backpack is just way too heavy and you can't go on anymore, go find a way to serve. I guarantee you, and I promise you, it will bless your life and change it. Not instantly, but it will take you out of that mindset, and you'll slowly start to feel hope. You will slowly start to feel belief that all is possible. Take that step.
I love it. I love that. Hope y'all had a good experience listening to Curtis today. I know I have, and every single one of these interviews is a university of growth. For me personally, I am a better person every single time I talk to someone like you. It just helps me identify how precious this life is. It is precious. We're so blessed to have it. So I'm blessed to have you here. Love you a lot. Appreciate you being here. And, may you stay alive to tell about more stories in the future. Maybe we'll have you back on in a year from now. What we want to do eventually is have a reunion of all the people like you that I've talked to, get them all together in a great big park.
Right.
And have them each talk to each other about these. It'd be super, super neat. So stay tuned for that in the future. I want to pay tribute to a sponsor of mine, Orange Theory Fitness. The reason why they're a cool sponsor is because you get your body in alignment and you get healthy, go to the gym, work through the pain, work through getting your body healthy. That's a temple that houses your mind, and it'll help you just see the goodness in life as you go forward. So seek out an Orange Theory Fitness gym. Tell them I sent you there, Bob Howard's podcast. So until we see each other again, Curtis, thank you so much for being on the show, and God bless you, bud.